How should we get? All right. We haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done like a Q&A in forever.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was fate when you walked in the door. I could have sworn I've seen your face before. So glad that you said hi, 'cause I was way too shy. What would have happened if you just had passed me by?
We don't have a lot of questions, but we do have just a couple questions that have been asked a lot of times by multiple people. So I figured we should answer them on here.
Yeah, rather than do it always in the comments.
In the comments.
It's
You'll
just-
still have to answer them in the comments.
Still have to answer in the comments, but it'd be a lot easier just to tell y'all.
Yeah. And you get more detailed here compared to through text. It's just a lot more difficult.
Right.
Okay, this is a big one. A lot of people are asking, why are we thinking about moving when we've done so much to our current house? And we said when we moved down here that this most likely would not be our forever home, just because we didn't know exactly what we were looking for. Location, everything. We were just trying to get to Florida and make sure we were in a good school district.
Right.
So now that we're down here, we have a lot more of an idea of like areas we like, the different schools in the areas, and we've always liked country living. It's why we liked our house in Watertown so much, is it was a small town.
Right. Right. It was. You didn't have to drive very far before you just saw nothing but farm fields.
Yeah,
It
like
is,
we
like,
were
right
in a
there.
subdivision, but
You drive out of that subdivision and it's just
Yeah.
farm fields.
where we are now is busy.
It's busy. It's a little loud.
Yeah, we like it. It's just
But really, the
We prefer-
main thing that changed is us wanting to have more animals. Because we didn't do it at the old place. We didn't have a fence. Then we got the fence, and it's like, yeah, maybe we could have some quail, and then maybe we could do some ducks. And that's the thing is we really like the ducks. They all have their own personalities. You can tell, like, they all do stuff, and you can pick out which one. Like, there's the white ones are the really sassy ones. They're just that way. And then there's a certain white one that is more sassier than others, and she's the one that always is trying to hide a nest.
Yep. You always have Prince, who's being very mischievous.
Yep.
He will sneak around to get into trouble, hoping Daddy Duck doesn't see him.
Daddy Duck's just the enforcer and make sure everybody's at peace, because when all the girls get into a big fight, he has to go right in the middle and, do his neck bob thing and tell them to shut up. But yeah, it's...
You were just outside. You don't need to go outside again. Go lay
Yeah.
down. You're fine.
Yeah, you can't come in the shop.
Don't tell
Sorry.
me what I can and can't do,
No,
Dad.
no bed
Get
for
in the
you.
shot.
No, your leg's still recovering. So he's getting better, but he's just getting old too.
Yeah. And I think part of it was us letting him in the bed. We shouldn't have done that. It's too hard for him to get in and out of the bed, and he's clumsy.
Well, yeah, it didn't
You're
help that he
clumsy.
wiped out, like, flat, like, paws outwards, just wiped out, like...
Because he sometimes gets his puppy energy and just like...
Yeah, he was running and he ran into the dog room. I was letting him outside, and he just, all fours came out from underneath him, and I'm like, oh, crap, don't tell me you broke something.
You gotta be careful. You're turning into an old man. You're not a puppy anymore.
You're almost 6. And in your lifespan, 6 is old. But yeah, so we want more animals. We want to grow our animal family. So like doing all the stuff at this house was great. We made it what we wanted. And yeah, it's like we invested a lot of time and money. But at the same time, the land
Minnie,
just isn't going
Minnie.
to work. Minnie, quit moving the camera.
Come here.
Our space isn't going to work. We want like a more dedicated, hey, this is where the ducks and stuff go, and then just have like the yard for the kids just to play in separate. So it's like, even if it is like fenced off, it's just like, hey, this is kid area.
Minnie, come here.
No animals allowed except for maybe the dogs, and that's a maybe.
Yeah.
Like Minnie, she's fine.
And more self-sufficient. I want to be able to have a orchard of fruit trees. I would love to be able to actually can food and have like food on hand that we know what's in our food and where it's been grown and all of that stuff. And we just don't have that space here.
No.
So there's just a lot that we want to do that can't be done here. But like I said on my channel, we definitely have gotten to a point where no matter where we live, we're going to treat it like it's our forever home. Because we've lived in houses and put off doing projects because, oh, this isn't our forever home. And then regretted it because we ended up doing it before we sold the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't we do this sooner and enjoy it while we were living here?
Yeah. And we've done it the last two houses. The Caledonia house, where that house was 1960 whatever, whenever it was made, I don't remember. And then right before we sold it, you redid the kitchen and all this stuff. The bathroom. It's like, wow, this is super nice.
And when we sold it.
And then we sold it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, we didn't get to enjoy that. And then the same in Watertown. Like, the house was, we were the first ones that lived in it. But
like the backsplash in the kitchen, I wish I would have done that right away because I loved it. I mean, we didn't.
Yeah, we did most of the stuff like right before. There was a couple things we did right when we moved in, like painted the basement floor and the garage floor and all that stuff. And you know, we learned as we go. If we would have known what we know now, the Watertown house would have been completely different.
It would have. We would have customized it a lot more.
It would have had a fireplace. It would have, there would have been a lot.
Yeah. So now when we live in places, we want to treat it like our forever home. If we plan on it being our forever home or not. Now, I will say where we are looking to buy, it is with the plan of that is our forever house.
Right, because we want it to be more of a generational home. Something
that we'll get and then hand it down to the kids. And just seeing the cost of real estate nowadays, it's like ridiculous. Our kids are never going to be able to afford a house. Well, maybe Xander. Xander's going to be our surgeon.
Yeah.
But this way, it's like, hey, we have this land. You can build on it. You can, like, do whatever. Or when we die, if they want to sell it, they can sell it and have made probably a lot more money because it's how many ever decades down the road.
Right.
Either way, it's something for the kids.
It's an investment for the kids. So that's really what it is besides us getting use out of it while we're alive, it's going to be an investment for the kids. Not only, I mean, because the kids they love four-wheeling and dirt biking and all that stuff. But we don't have any land to do that on right now. So we have the electric, scooter, motorcycle, all that stuff. And that's really all you can have because where we live, otherwise all that stuff would be way too loud. And we're not trying to upset neighbors and stuff like that. So moving out to the country.
Do whatever you want.
So then it's like, yeah, let's get some dirt bikes. That'll be fun.
So talking about the land though, another huge question. Most subscribers' concern about us moving is you. How do you feel about, we kind of answered how you feel about moving, but
I want to move, even though it may like totally affect me physically and break me more. At least then I'm giving something to my kids, giving them a place to live, but also a potential major investment for them. So, it's one of those things of if, all else fails, at least I did that.
Well, and I think you would go stir crazy without having projects.
Right. This house is done. I mean, once I finish the backyard, it's done. We've touched everything in that. Everything. Inside and out. Once the backyard's done. And it's like, what am I going to do now? I know what you're going to say. Well, you should just sit around and rest and recover. Here's the problem with that. if I'm not, and this is just something that was ingrained in the military, is if you're sitting doing nothing, you're wrong. Always doing something during duty hours. Now, what is duty hours? Pretty much from sun up to sundown. If you ain't doing something, you're wrong. Obviously, you got your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner breaks. But I don't really eat breakfast. I don't really eat lunch at all. Sometimes I eat breakfast. And dinner's really the only time. So I need to fill that time somehow. Because otherwise, like, my brain feels like I am not contributing. You see how much Cambria cleans the house, and then she goes to other people's houses and cleans them.
That's where I was today for
Holy
like 4
crap.
hours.
It's like, what do you do, Bobby? I'm at home. I make videos. What? That's what you did, and you were in the military for so many years? Come on, go get a job. So no, and that's the thing. It's like having a job outside the home would just not work because I don't know how my body's gonna be, either mentally or physically. And there's like between having migraines and with all the, when I have my gallbladder issue, there's just, it's always something. So either I can't walk.
A desk job wouldn't work. You got hurt from sitting doing our taxes.
I pulled my back sitting doing taxes. So desk job don't work. I go and I do the simplest thing and my back goes out. So it's like, okay, doing simple stuff don't work. Well, doing heavy stuff, that'll hurt me. But it's kind of weird because it's like you mentally prepare your body to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and it's like, all right, let's do it. But it's usually the stupidest stuff that I actually get hurt doing.
I will say we have found over this past week, whenever he's been working, I've been reminding him to come inside and use his electric therapy before bed, and he's been doing that every night before bed. And in the past, when you've done a big project, the next day he's been just like out. Useless. Playing video games, walking with a cane, useless. Yeah. You've been so much better. Being like, okay, you're done with your projects, do this right away at night, and then you usually do it in the morning again, has made a huge difference. So if you have ailments and you can get one of those machines, 100%, it's been better than the chiropractor. It's been better than the acupuncture. It's been better than the muscle relaxers.
It's been better than anything that's been
prescribed to you.
Let's put it that way. Now, put all that stuff together, chiropractor, and soon acupuncture.
Mini.
Muscle relaxer, pain pills, this electric therapy, put it all together, and it actually allows me, that's how come I've been able to work on projects. But also keep in mind, when we film all this stuff, it may be over multiple days, many days. So there is like days where it's just like, all right, I'm just in too much pain. I cannot work on this anymore. So just keep that in mind. It's not like I'm 24/7 non-stop working.
You pace yourself.
I've been pacing myself more, taking more breaks, drinking a ton of water. I don't even like water. And just drinking a ton of that stuff because it's so hot. And it seems like all my projects are in the garage or outside, so.
Yeah.
But the boys are stepping up. That's another thing, is the boys have been very helpful. They've been helping with projects. They've been doing some of my chores, stuff like that. And not only is that a good teaching thing for them, teaching moment for me, but also for them to learn. That's how I've been able to continue to do this stuff, is because it's just readjusting my way of doing things. So can we get a fixer-upper? Yes, because otherwise I'm going to go crazy. Otherwise, I might as well be going on trips and not even be home, because I cannot just sit around and do nothing.
So, and the other thing is, so let's just talk about the property that we are currently most considering right now.
Property 4.
Property 4. When we talk about what we want to do to that house, we're not talking about it like we did when we moved in this house. The first 6 months of living here was nonstop.
Tore down a bunch of walls, moved everything. Yeah, no, we ain't doing that again.
Our thought is, this is going to be done over years. And one project at like really take our time, even when it comes
Some
to the
stuff
land.
has priority.
Yeah.
Like that carport, that's probably not going to be a carport anymore. That's going to have some sides.
But correct, but that then would be your project to start.
Yeah, that
And
probably
so you
was
would-
starting.
It may take you a month to do it.
And then
that's
we're actually
okay.
going to rent a brush clearing machine and clear all that crap out.
And then that would be
But
you,
that's
me,
renting a machine.
boys,
I ain't doing it.
Dad,
I'll drive it
everyone.
because that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, how am I going to hurt if I'm driving it? You know?
But
I'll probably hurt my back driving it.
everything is you'll be sitting for too long and pull your back out. It's not funny. It is kind of funny because it's like, really, you hurt yourself sitting.
It's going to be me and your dad swapping out because your dad has to get hands on, or he goes crazy, and I can't sit for too long, nor can I stand for too long, so I have to rotate through.
And that is the other thing. My parents would be on the land. So when it comes to like canning and preparing food, stuff like that, me and my mom know how to do that. Processing animals, because yes, this will be a homestead.
Yeah, I don't process animals. I just help get them to the right position.
But canning tomatoes and beans and freeze drying and all of that stuff, that would be on mom and dad. Yeah, mom and I. My dad's a phenomenal gardener.
Yeah, he's a farmer for sure.
Want to learn as much as possible from my dad because they have a lot about the size of ours and slightly smaller because you guys have seen their backyard.
Right.
It's all cement. So they just have their front yard and he has so many plants in their yard that produces food for them already that if you give him land,
it's going to be insane.
We'll literally be able to feed both our families.
Right.
From our gardens and everything like that, between what my dad knows, and then what mom and I know, and then dad and Bobby being able to work on projects. My dad's kind of broken too, so they work at the same pace.
Yeah.
Dad can't lift his arm above his head because he has a messed up shoulder, but he's just like Bobby. He has to stay active. He's ex-military. He's a retired firefighter. He's got the exact same mindset of he needs to keep busy. He's always tinkering on something.
Well, it also, like, if you're actively working, that's why I drink so much water. Is just like, otherwise, if I wasn't working on something, I might as well just drink all day.
Well, and I'm a firm believer of a body in motion stays in motion.
Right.
So
that's my grandpa.
Yeah. The second you stop, your body deteriorates so much faster.
Yeah. So that's why I know everybody says you need to just rest and stop, and I really can't. I can't do that. I mentally cannot do it because I feel, as what my head tells me, is that I'm not contributing to this family, so why am I here? Type of deal. So yeah, you could say, well, you're watching Athena, you're watching Freya, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's great, but I need to get a little dirty. And I don't mean changing poopy diapers, which that was nasty yesterday when I changed Athena's. I had to change her completely. Clothes, it was all over. That's not the kind of dirty work I want. Because that's gross.
All right, let's get into more fun stuff. We got animal questions. A lot of people are concerned about the ducks getting into our swimming pool. So the ducks, if they wanted to get into our swimming pool before we took the top down, they could have. A lot of those screens were out already.
Yeah.
So the couple times we filmed the ducks getting into the pool area, they got so freaked out that because they didn't know how they had gotten in there or how to get out.
It was also because we didn't clip those wings.
Yes.
Their wings grew back. That's the only reason they got in. They could fly through the screen, and they landed in between, and they're like, crap, where am I?
This is not what I want.
And they went in the pool, and they're like, oh, this is cool. And then they're like, ugh, I don't like this. And they got out, and they would just like be walking around the pool. The only reason, like you saw the ducks in the pool, like the babies and stuff, is because we put them in there. And then they took a bunch of craps in there, so that ain't happening anymore.
No. But the ducks have zero interest of getting over that at all.
That, and they think there's still screens there.
Yes.
So, yeah, unless they're flying, They ain't gonna even go in there.
Which actually brings me to the other question, because people ask how the ducks don't get over the fence. We clip the ducks' wings. For one, it keeps them in our yard. But keeping them in our yard does multiple things. Protects them from predators. In our yard, they are protected. We don't get random cats or raccoons or all these different predators come into our yard. Because we have the dogs,
it's mainly Bailey pissing everywhere.
Mainly Bailey. We don't get raccoons. We don't get cats. We don't get any of those things that could hurt the ducks.
Yeah, because they can smell that he's a bigger predator.
Yeah, so it keeps them safe.
That, and we do take care of the yard. Like, everybody's always, saying, oh, snakes and alligators everywhere. One, we don't have alligators right by us. We're too close to the ocean. They don't like salt water.
Yeah.
So, we're too close for that. Snakes, yes. But if you cut your grass and actually maintain your yard, they don't really like coming in a kept up yard. It's when you don't have a kept up yard, that's when they have places to hide.
And we only ever have seen those like gardener snakes.
Yeah, they're all the friendly snakes.
Yeah, and we've
They
only
scare
ever
you
seen
at first, and then you're like, oh, it's
handful
just
of
you.
them. Yeah.
They're like, well, you're a big one today. But yeah, that's it. Like, yes, there's 6 poisonous species of snakes in Florida. Are they by us? Yeah, down the road. But it's called a national forest. So yeah.
Well, you bringing up predators actually is the last question. People are asking if we're concerned about someone said crocodiles. Alligators. We have alligators. If you go further south, there are crocodiles, but they're not supposed to be there. We have alligators. We don't have crocodiles over here.
Right.
And are we concerned about a pond and alligators?
No. You just have to always assume there's an alligator in there.
Yeah.
So once you mentally prepare yourself for that, scan the area. Obviously, if you see a duck swimming and then it's suddenly gone, it's probably an alligator. But that's the main thing, is just realistically, once you do see an alligator, you call, say, hey, there's an alligator. And then they come and take it away.
The other thing, and this might be for our viewers that aren't in America or just don't know the difference between crocs and alligators as much. So crocodiles will attack a human. They look at humans as prey. Alligators don't. Now, a small child, a mini, the most common one is, so there was an older woman walking her dog next to a pond, and you see the alligator come up and grab the old lady's foot. What a lot of people haven't talked about or realized is the alligator wasn't actually going for the woman.
Oh, for the dog.
It was going for her dog.
Right.
And then the woman pulled the dog away, got in front of the alligator to block the alligator, and it was already in that direction with its mouth open.
Right.
So there is just certain rules you follow when being down here. Small animals next to a pond is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Small children next to the pond, which we plan on fencing off the pond completely also. Alligators have been known to climb fences, but it's less likely, and usually small ponds, they are only passing through.
And the only alligators we've actually seen in the time we've lived in Florida are little guys.
I've seen 3 now.
I've seen 1.
But
they're little.
Yeah.
They're not those big monsters you see on TV. Those are more further south. And if they are those big monsters, people get called right away.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're not concerned.
No.
Not concerned.
Questions about the pool and fence and all that stuff, rules and regulations. We have a 6-foot fence around our yard. So that's our whole backyard, 6-foot fence.
So yeah, there is a rule, again, about your pool needing to be fenced in.
Right.
But our whole backyard is fenced in, so that's the rule. Yes.
Now, before we moved here, they didn't have a fence. The only people behind us did, but the sides weren't fenced in. That's why they had the bird cage or the pool cage,
and
because that counted as a fence.
Mm-hmm.
Even though realistically, you could just push through the freaking screens if you want.
Yeah, but it's still
But it still counts.
Yes.
So, 6-foot fence plus you're seeing what we're doing back there. That structure that's still around the pool is now it's 35 inches tall, so just under 3 feet. Now, is that, high enough?
I don't know.
Probably not if we didn't have already a 6-foot fence.
But we also figure for what ages we want to keep out, 3 feet is really where we want to be.
Yeah, realistically, if Athena, and let's say Athena and Freya are playing in the backyard, right? We wouldn't want, obviously, Athena to get in there. Well, guess what? She ain't getting over a 3-foot structure.
No, and Freya
and she can't even open the door. Freya can't even open the door now.
Yeah.
So that is actually a perfect height to keep littles out. Effective for littles. So that is not a problem.
So for everyone wondering why the screens are so popular here in Florida, so depending on, well, pretty much all of Florida, at night gets really buggy. So it helps with the bugs. But also, it just helps keep debris and stuff out of the pool. So that's why it's really, really popular down here. Because the mosquitoes, our yard isn't too bad, actually. Because Bobby always treats for mosquitoes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like, we have some bugs, but our bugs control is pretty good in our yard. So that's why I wasn't concerned about taking it down. I would have taken it down, honestly, years ago with the first storm that broke just the screening. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, cut the screening, then it'll take care of it. When we got quoted for re-screening was $2,000.
Right.
And I'm not paying $2,000 every hurricane season.
No.
So that's why we were just leaving it with the way it was, because we're like, I'm not paying that every time we have a hurricane.
Right. And it's like, oh, well, now more debris will get in your pool. Debris got in the pool because there was no screens before. So taking down the structure's not really changing anything.
It's actually really nice because the pool is a lot warmer.
Oh, yeah.
It's
gotten
very
a lot warmer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a pool heater in Florida. If you have a screen cover, yes. But if you don't have a screen cover, you don't need a pool heater.
I don't think you even needed it with the screen cover. Our pool still got really warm in the summer.
Our pool right now, I think, is as hot as it was last year in August. Yeah. It's already that hot by just having the sun heat it.
Yeah.
So the screen does block some UV and stuff like that. So you got to be a little more cautious. But then again, we didn't really have screens, so it's not really much of a change. It actually just is just nicer.
Yeah.
It's just more open. And when you see the finished product, you'll see what I'm talking about. Much rather have this than a big cage around you.
And yes, we did look into insurance covering replacing the pool screen.
They don't
cover that. It doesn't count as part of the house. It's a separate structure.
Yes, it's a separate structure, and it is a luxury structure.
Yeah, so they don't cover it.
It's not even covered. It's different. It's not like it's a shed. The shed's covered. But this is a luxury. Not everybody needs these. Everybody could have sheds if they needed them. But you don't need a bird cage because not everybody has a pool. So it's not covered. So this is a way for me to fix it. And after this is done, all my hurricane damage is fixed.
Like I said, I love it though because we have a big backyard, but it didn't feel that big because we had the cage in the middle of it. It was like chopped up. You had the dog side, and then you had the pool area, and then you had the other side. Right. Where now it just feels open. It's so nice now. I love it.
So when we were looking at that model home, we got a ton of questions, a ton of people saying that's not big enough for you. It's only 1,200 square feet, and you get a family of 6 and 2 dogs and ducks and stuff. We were looking at that for her parents.
Yes.
If they were gonna build a house, that's what it was. It was just to get 1,200 square foot size, in view. Where it's like right now their house is huge, and there's only 2 of them living there. And it's like, why do you have such a big house? Well, because they have people come visit, so they have guest rooms. And when your grandma comes down for weeks at a time, that's the reason why they don't want a small house. They still want to be able to have family come. So, yeah, that's all it was. We weren't looking at that house for us. Even
though I still think it would have been fine for us.
But, yeah.
I prefer nothing under 1,800 square feet because
Yeah.
that's what our Watertown house was, and to
Right.
me that was a perfect size.
Yeah.
This house is a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
I don't want anything bigger than what we have though.
And property floor of the house we're looking at there, when you combine the two places, the two livable spaces, then it is bigger square footage than this house.
But that's with that.
But that's
The
with
actual
that.
house is pretty much.
It's going to be
this.
the same size, maybe even a little smaller than this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. That's not a big deal.
That I
we,
can keep up with.
we would get rid of the one room, turn it back into a garage.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it would lose some square footage, but we don't need necessarily all that. And yeah.
We're also still trying to figure out. We haven't put in an offer or anything yet because there's still things trying to figure out. Like,
Right.
I know someone asked about parceling off the land, so we're looking into that right now. From what we know, we can easily split it into 2 lots based off of how much acreage. Because I think, what is it, 2? Or was it 1 acre?
Minimum 1 acre.
Minimum 1 acre lots. We would be splitting them into about 5 and 5 acres. So that
Or
would be
4
fine.
and 6,
Or
something
4.
like that.
Yeah.
Either way, it's making the minimum requirement.
Yep.
But that's really what we're looking at is logistics. That's what it is. Why put in an offer if you don't have all the answers? And then that also gives me a little bit more time to get this house ready to go on the market as well. Because we don't want to put it on the market with half-done projects like that Property 6 house where they had stuff started and it's like nothing's done.
Well, and we shop around when it comes to realtors. We have one guy that found us this house. He's also showing us their properties, and we love him.
Mhm.
But when it comes to selling our house, we've always been really picky.
Right.
Just because every realtor is very different, and just because you can show houses and like find us a house, it's such a different thing to actually list a house and sell it. So we've interviewed now 3 realtors, one just via phone, and he was a very quick no. Mainly because he didn't follow up. Like, we just said, hey, there's 2 houses we're looking at selling, gave him info, talked to him on the phone for like 20 minutes, and he never called back after that. So that says a lot. And then we've had 2 other people come and walk the house, give us our CMAs, and let us know what they do to market. To my biggest thing is always like photos. Do you take good photos? I want my house to look at its best, but not overly edited. I want it to be authentically itself, but also look good.
And I don't want you to take the photos with a cell phone from 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst thing you could do is, I took these photos. Or like even a brand new iPhone in like the most compressed size. So everything's like really small.
We say that because when our neighbor sold his house, multiple of the pictures was of his dog. And we know the realtor that sold his house, and she obviously went in with a cell phone and didn't know how to upload the photos, so they weren't the correct size. And that's why we shop around. Like, we want to make sure everyone shops online first.
Right.
So you're not getting people in your house if you aren't advertising correctly online. The people we like the most, I think, understand the market enough where they were saying how they make sure to advertise to people in New York and Chicago and Miami, because those are the markets that are most commonly moving to this area. So locally, and then pickpocketing other areas of the country or even the state, because a lot of people from Miami are moving up. So
so that's I think that's
the most common. If you guys have more questions, leave them down below. I just did a quick scan trying to figure out what questions were being asked a lot. That way we could answer them. Because we have been doing a lot. There's a lot going on with looking at properties and working on the house and all the things. So we wanted to answer it. And time frame for us, before 2 years. I told Bobby this a year ago. that once Xander's in high school, we're not moving. Because I don't want to move a kid in high school. Bjorn would be going into middle school. Like, that's a lot harder to move kids around at that point. So, before high school. Because then he's moving schools anyway.
Yeah, you're changing it. You're going from middle school to high school.
And most people, like, really create those bonds in high school with friends. So, that is our time frame. We will either move before he's in high school, or we won't move ever. I don't know. I wouldn't say ever, but it'd be a lot harder because once he's out of high school, then Bjorn would be in high school, and then Freya would be in high school. So it might be like 20 years.
Yeah.
2 years or nothing if we're going to move. Because I won't uproot the kids. Not in crucial school years.
Yeah, and we already looked into the schools for Property 4, and they're nice. So it's very comparable to where we live now. So that's obviously a factor that we are considering is, we know Xander's a very smart kid.
We want him to
have a good school and a big school that can accommodate for him, and we know he likes band and all that stuff.
Yeah, making sure they have good arts programs, all of those things.
Right.
I do want to look into their college course programs just to make sure they have stuff like that at the high school. That's another logistic thing looking into is all the school stuff is I want to make sure that the boys can do some tech college courses, like trade school stuff well in high school. That way when they get out of high school, they've got jobs waiting for them, no matter if they want to still become a cop like Bjorn does, want to still become a doctor like Xander does.
Freya wants to be a vet.
Freya currently wants to be a vet.
Veterinarian, not a combat vet.
No. She wants to be an animal doctor.
Animal doctor, yes.
Xander wants to be a people doctor. Freya wants to be an animal doctor. And Bjorn currently wants to be a cop. I say currently because they change often. Xander's the only one that could stay because he's getting older now.
Right.
Bjorn's still young enough and Freya's still young enough. I'm sure they'll come up with another 5 ideas over the next couple of years.
Sure. Everybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did not do what I originally thought. So.
But yeah, I think that's it. Unless you guys leave them in the comments. That's all I can think of.
Yep. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the likes and drop a comment. If you have more questions, drop them in the comments, and maybe we'll do another Q&A when we see too many of the same comments.
When we see a lot of the same questions, yes.
Yeah, so.
You ate all your food?
No.
Good job. Come here.
No.
We're finishing our video. You want to say bye to everyone?
Yeah, you gotta look at the camera though. Can you say, see you next time?
See you next time.
Bye.
All right, you ready for bed?
No.
Yeah.